So for the number one overall pick, I think it's going to be Abdul Carter. Um, I think it's between him or Cam Ward. And I think at the end of the day, I think is a Myles Garrett situation. I think Titans are similar. You got the Manning kid coming out next year and all that stuff. You still got Levis, which could turn out, and it's hard to pass up on a talent like Carter. Um, as much as I wanted to try to figure out a way for him to drop to us, I couldn't make that happen. So, I think he'll be the first overall pick. I think Ward will go second to the Browns because, yeah, that's self-explanatory. Hunter, I think, is for sure going to the Giants. Even before they got Wilson, I had Hunter going there. It just seems like such a giant move to go for Hunter. Um, Number four, this is like probably my most confident pick is I think New England with their young quarterback and with Vrabel as the coach now will 100% go with Will Campbell without a doubt. Um, Five, Jacksonville. It seems like a move for them to go Johnson. It may also just be me hoping to get him out of the way. So, but I think they'll go Johnson. Raiders, I have going McMillan because it's but him or Jaunty for me. And when I look at it, they need a number one so bad. I mean, their number one right now is what's his name? Jacoby Myers. Like, that's their number one receiver. So they need a number one super bad. I'm going McMillan. Jets with Justin Fields and all that, and how desperately they needed to work and not resigning Tyron. I think they're going to go that Membabu, whatever his name is, out of Missouri. Um, Eight, I have Carolina taking Mason Graham purely off of the fact that I just think, people expect him to go more where Jacksonville is. And I think if he drops to there, Carolina is going to snatch him up, and just solidify their defensive line. Um, Number nine for the Saints, I have them taking Tyler Warren. Um, and the things that says they don't need a tight end, but their current tight end is Jawan Johnson, and I don't think that's a huge tight end, in the rankings. And it just seems like such a Kellen Moore move to go get a tight end. His systems are all about tight ends. He knows how Will Goddard did, so I think Warren will go there. 10, I think, I know there's a lot of things about the Bears taking Jonty. I have a feeling personally, I just think what's his name? Johnson will go a different direction and they're going to focus on solidifying their offensive line with that both their tackles being free agents next year or something. And I think they're going to go Banks. 11 is a bit of a stretch for me. But I have the Niners taking Barron. Um, Purely just because one, I don't want Dallas to draft him, and two, I mean they need a corner. So I just haven't taken them, and then I just think it's too logical, too much of an easy choice that Dallas goes with Jonty. And that's it. You don't get to see anything else. Here is Travis's mock draft. Go ahead, Dad.
Okay. So, as much as Peyton's argument made sense, I'm going to say that nobody at number one is not going to take a quarterback, even a bad quarterback. I'm not a big fan of Ward, but um, Tennessee's taking him. Um, so, Tennessee takes Ward. I think Cleveland is just looking to make a splash. They'll take Hunter, which even if Hunter dropped to Dallas at the 12th pick, I'm not sure I would take him. Um, and then the Giants need to fix their line. They're going to take Will Campbell, dropping Carter all the way down to New England, which they have to take. I was like Peyton. Jacksonville just seems like they're going after a corner, the top corner there. And then I went with knowing how um, I think the coaching is at the Raiders. They're going to try to fix their offensive line. So they're going to go with the best offensive lineman available, leaving Sanders to be destroyed in the horrible city of New York and the next in line to be ran out of town after 3 years. Unfortunately, I wouldn't wish that on anyone. And I wouldn't want Sanders, but he's going to the Jets. Uh, Carolina needs to will go after a tight end. They'll take Warren, and then New Orleans will take Williams, the defensive end.
Alrighty.
Um, then I have then I have Chicago taking Jonty. Um, I think the 49ers jump up and take Pierce just because of trying to get another defensive end opposite of Nick Bosa, leaving us with the
Oh,
superstar Graham, who's going to make Macy look. It's like a double whammy. We bring him
oh.
in, he helps Mays, and we have a defensive tackles that for the next 10 years.
There you go.
Alrighty.
So for the sake of time, I had jumped onto the one that I'd been using, so
Oh,
I'll get registered onto ours
perfect.
for future mocking. But this didn't kick out like exactly how I wanted it. But the points, I think again, Cameron Ward will definitely go number one. Um, I think Abdul Carter will go to the giant the Browns, but Will Campbell is kind of moving up a little bit, so I'm going to say they need to protect their quarterback, whoever it is. Um, Now, no one has ever had Ashton Shenty go to the Giants, but if you think
Oh,
about it,
that would suck.
it would suck. But
That would suck.
if you think about it, Shador isn't really that great. He's dropping. And think about, when they lost what's his face to the Eagles, they kind of need somebody like that. And so it would make sense to me. I mean, I think Travis Hunter could go anywhere from 1 to 5. And so um, no real rationale other than the Jags need anybody. Um, the Raiders are stupid enough to go with an offensive lineman. They just they just signed their quarterback to an extension, a crappy quarterback at that. I'm like, whoa, they'll be sucky for generations. But again, Mason Graham could go anywhere. I don't think he'll slide down to 7. If he did, I would like Dallas to try to trade up with those guys. The Starks, he's another outlier that could jump up there. But I think Shador Sanders could land with the Saints, and the Saints need a quarterback. And I mean, they would feel like they won the lottery if you dropped that far. But Kelvin Banks, you could see that the Bears could go offensive line, or they've got their receivers. Um, they do need a running back, but they easily can go offensive line. San Francisco already has their tight end, but he's getting older. Tyler Warren would be killer. And so this one, the only reason why I'm keeping this little mock draft is this is what I think Dallas will pick. They're going to pick
Oh,
Will
oh,
Johnson
Oh,
or
God.
Michael Williams. And they're going to go, we need a corner. And we do. And I'm not saying that he's bad, but I'm just saying that that is a Dallas pick. Because one person was saying, they were saying like that even in the coach Schottenheimer, even Jerry Jones, whatever, Stephen Jones, they're at these meetings and they're basically saying, we want a receiver, we want a receiver. And they're kind of showing their hand, which you're not supposed to in the draft, which makes us think maybe they're hoodwinging us and going with some idiot.